I, Professor S.D. Kade, welcome you all for this video lecture on microwave measurement and in particular attenuation, insertion loss and dielectric measurement. Now first we are going to see the attenuation measurement. Now the attenuation measurement are made mainly using two methods. First method is power ratio method and another method is a substitution method. Now first we are going to see a power ratio method. So power ratio method is the simplest form of method which involves a connecting unmodulated source to a bolometer mount and a power meter. So in this technique, initially the power level is measured and then the attenuating device is inserted in between a source and bolometer and a new power level reading is taken. The ratio of these two power levels will be used to measure the attenuation of the device. So with this method, we can measure the attenuation up to 20 dB only. Now, this figure shows a attenuation measurement microwave bench setup. So here we are having a microwave power source, then a frequency meter, the plain waveguide section, then a slotted line, match termination. Now a probe is connected in the slotted line section to detect a power and this is connected to indicating meter. Now instead of this, we may connect a device under test, means whose attenuation is to be measured. Now for determining an attenuation measurement, an absolute power is not necessary since we are mostly concerned with the relative power levels. A detector having a square law characteristic is used to measure the power ratio without knowing the absolute power level. Now the steps that is to be followed to measure the attenuation using power ratio method is, now first we have to adjust and set this variable attenuator to approximately 20 dB and the flat attenuator to 0 degree. Now next, modulate the microwave signal from the source of 1 kHz square wave. Now adjust the modulation for a peak level on VSWR meter. Next, for a crystal detector to operate within the square law characteristic, the value of the power level at input should be approximately equals to 0.1 milliwatt. Next, adjust the control of flap attenuator to provide an unknown loss and the level of loss that can be directly measured in the dB scale with the help of VSWR meter. So in case the power level with and without the unknown attenuations are not operating the crystal detector within the square law characteristic, then there will be an error in the measurement. Now by using a substitution method, the greater accuracy can be provided. So this is the drawback of this. The crystal detector must be operated in a square law characteristic to measure an attenuation. Now next method is a substitution method. So in this method, the network or the device whose attenuation is to be measured is replaced by a calibrated attenuator. By changing the attenuation, it is adjusted in such a way that it gives a same power as that of measured at the output of the network. So in this situation, the attenuation of these two is same and can be read off from the calibrated attenuator. The experimental setup of this is this. Now, this is the first setup of RF substitution method, and this is a second setup for the RF substitution method. Now, in a first setup, we have used here microwave source. Then next to that is isolator. Next is a frequency meter. Then the network whose attenuation is being measured is connected, and then it is connected to slotted line. From the slotted line, a probe is taken that is connected a crystal detector, and this is connected to the power meter, and the slotted line is short terminated. So this is the first setup where we are going to measure the power level of a device under test. Now in the next setup, we are having a microwave device, then isolator, then frequency meter. Now instead of here a device under test, we replace this with a variable precision attenuator. It is a calibrated attenuator. Then we are connected a slotted line section, and this slotted line section is short terminated. Now we have connected a probe, that is a crystal detector, and with the help of this it is fed to the power meter, and the reading of the power meter is taken. Now the steps that is to be followed in this measurement is first adjust and set a precision variable attenuator approximately 40 dB or higher than the expected attenuation of the component is to be tested. Now next, modulate a microwave from a source of 1 kHz square wave and adjust the modulation for a peak on VSWR meter. Now for crystal detector to operate within the square law characteristics, the microwave power level at crystal should be around 0.1 milliwatt. Now next, rotate the knob of flap attenuator to provide an unknown loss, and the needle of the VSWR will fall back but should not be restored to 0 degree mark by reading a precision variable resistor. Now the difference between a new reading of the precision variable attenuator and the earlier reading is equal to the unknown attenuation, and from this we know the attenuation of the device under the test. Now the advantage of the substitution method or the power substitution method is that the power level at crystal detector is same when taking both reading on precision attenuator. Now next is the insertion loss measurement. The insertion loss of a transmission system is defined as the sum of power reflected by the device due to the mismatch and the power attenuated by the device. Now when we are having an input power, that is Pi, is flowing in a lossless transmission line with a matched load, so there will be no reflection from it, and the device is inserted in between then due to it. Now the power PR will get reflected back. P attenuation will be attenuated or observed within the device, and the remaining power P out will go to the load. Now the definition of the insertion loss in dB. The insertion loss, that is I in dB, can be expressed as 10 log P0 divided by Pi. Now here P0 becomes equals to Pi, that is input power, minus reflected power minus attenuated power, and therefore the P attenuation will given as Pi minus PR reflected power minus output power, as P0 by Pi will be equals to Pi minus PR divided by Pi into P0 upon Pi minus PR. Now if you are taking log and multiplied by 10, then this becomes 10 log P0 by Pi equals to 10 log of Pi minus PR upon Pi plus 10 log of P0 upon Pi minus PR. And therefore, from the definition of the losses, the first term is equals to the insertion loss, second term is equals to the reflection loss, and third term is equals to the attenuation loss in a device. So where in insertion loss we can express as 10 log P0 by Pi, reflection loss R equals to 10 log of Pi minus PR divided by Pi, and the attenuation loss can be expressed as 10 log of P0 upon Pi minus PR. Now because of the insertion of the device in the line, the power lost is called as the insertion loss. Now here from the above equation, the reflection loss in dB is written as log of 10 1 minus PR upon Pi, which can be written as log of 10 log of 1 minus rho square, that is 10 log of 4s divided by 1 plus s square. So where s is nothing but VSWR, and that is equals to 1 minus mod of rho upon 1 plus mod rho. Attenuation loss in dB equals to 10 log P0 upon Pi minus PR, and the return or the reflection loss becomes equals to 10 log of PR minus Pi, that becomes equals to 20 log of rho. Now in case the perfect matching impedance, the PR, that is reflected power, becomes equals to 0, and that means a no reflection loss, and the insertion loss is same as attenuation loss. So for measuring the attenuation loss, both reflected power and attenuated power will be measured separately. Now this figure A will show that we are feeding a power Pi, and this is a particular device. Now in the device there will be the attenuation, that is P attenuated, and from the device output P0 will be transferred to the match load, and here from the device PR will be reflected back. Now for the measurement of insertion loss, this is a particular setup that is used. Here first a microwave source of 1 kilohertz source, microwave source is connected, then we are placing isolator, then frequency meter. Now here the power before a variable attenuator is a Pi, then we are having attenuator, then we have connected identical 20 dB directional coupler, and here a detector 1 is connected, and that is connected to the VSWR meter. Now next to that again identical 20 dB directional coupler is connected, which will measure a reflected power, and that is applied to the match load. Next is a device under test, then P out is to be connected to this particular match load. So how to measure the insertion loss? First, keeping the variable attenuation at minimum position, and the VSWR at a detector D1 should read a maximum. For this, either the modulation level of the power source can be adjusted or the gain of the VSWR meter can be adjusted. So at this, the maximum reading of the VSWR should be equals to 1, means 0 dB. Now next, read the frequency using a frequency meter when dip observed in VSWR meter. Now interchange the VSWR meter at D1 with a match load at D2, and hence the VSWR power reads PR divided by Pi, the return loss in dB, and from this the reflected loss is calculated. Now the variable attenuator is adjusted to give an attenuation of 20 dB, that is equals to a directional coupler. Then interchange the VSWR meter at D2 with a match load at D3, so that the match load at D1 and D2 and the VSWR will give the reading of insertion loss, that is P0 divided by Pi, directly on its meter. The attenuation of the device under test can be obtained by using subtracting the reflection loss from the insertion loss. Now next parameter is dielectric constant. Now the dielectric constant, that is denoted as epsilon r, is the relative permittivity, that is we can express that ER becomes equals to epsilon upon epsilon 0, and it is measure of the efficiency of transfer of electric line of force, just like a permittivity as the ability of magnetic field to penetrate and the conductivity sigma for the conduction of charge. These three parameters, that is epsilon, mu and sigma of a material, appears in a Maxwell equation and play a very important role in analysis. A dielectric material cause power loss or heating also. The permittivity is a complex quantity, that is epsilon conjugate with imaginary component representing a losses. Now this complex term, that is epsilon conjugate, becomes equals to epsilon minus j sigma divided by omega, and that becomes equals to epsilon 0 epsilon dash minus epsilon j epsilon double dash. So where epsilon double dash equals to sigma upon omega epsilon 0, and that is a measure of dissipation of energy. Next, epsilon dash becomes equals to epsilon 1 conjugate into epsilon 0, and it is equals to the measure of ability to stored energy. And epsilon r becomes equals to epsilon conjugate upon epsilon 0, that is relative permittivity or a dielectric constant. Now epsilon r becomes equals to epsilon dash in bracket 1 minus j tan del. So where tan del becomes equals to epsilon dash upon epsilon double dash upon epsilon dash, that is equals to loss tangent. This becomes equals to the ratio of power dissipated to the power stored per cycle when a EM wave will propagate. Now here we measure the shift, that is del S, in the minima of standing wave, and when a dielectric sample in a waveguide is not there, and when it is placed between a slotted line and matched short, Now approximate value of a dielectric constant should be known before the band, and the following setup is used for the measurement of dielectric constant. So power supply, then microwave source, then we have connected isolator, then variable attenuator, then frequency meter, then slotted line section. Then from the slotted line section we have connected a detector probe, and that is connected to the VSWR meter. Then slotted line section is connected to a dielectric sample in the waveguide, and next to that is short circuit. Now first, the frequency meter gives the frequency, and from this we can calculate the value of lambda 0, that is free space wavelength, and lambda g, that is a guide wavelength. Or alternatively, the guide wavelength could be measured using the slotted line section using double minima method. Now second, the thickness, that is T, of dielectric could be measured by a micrometer accurately. Then we calculate the value of parameter P. So where P becomes equals to lambda g by T, tan of 2 pi del S plus T divided by lambda g, which is become equals to lambda g upon T tan of theta. Now P could be positive or negative, but it will be used a modulus of P. Now next, for another relation between the P and the parameter N, that is number of wavelength inside a dielectric or the thickness T, is given by a transcendental equation in N. So here we may noted that the lambda d, the lambda, that is G, guide wavelength in a dielectric field waveguide is lambda d is greater than lambda G, that is the guide wavelength in a dielectric field attenuation, where the lambda G is nothing but a guide wavelength in a air filled material. Okay, so lambda d will be greater than lambda G. Now in the lambda G the medium is air, and here in a lambda d the medium is a dielectric material, and that's why it is greater. Now this transcendental equation in N equals to T by lambda d is given by mod P becomes equals to tan of 2 pi N divided by capital N. Now from the plot of P versus N in the figure, which is used for reading the first value of N, if you got to from the value of P computed earlier. Now using this N, the final value of epsilon r is computed using the following formula, that is epsilon r becomes equals to 1 minus lambda 0 upon lambda g whole square plus lambda 0 into N divided by T. Now how to calculate N from this particular plot? So this is the plot of P versus N. So we have calculated the value of P, mod P, and from this we are going to find out the value of N. Now here if you observe, if a P value is positive and this is the value of mod P, so from this, if this is the particular value of P, then we can easily check what is the value of N from this particular plot. Okay, so likewise this is a value of P when it is again positive. Okay, so from this particular plot, because we have calculated the value of P, and from the value of P we can easily find out. Okay, so from this axis here the value of P is given, and if we plot, we are taking any particular point on this, a particular point of a P, then corresponding N can be determined from this particular plot. And okay, so this is a procedure to measure dielectric constant, and to increase an accuracy we can use a repeated with a slight different frequencies, and epsilon are computed again, and now the average of these two values will give the more accurate values. Okay, so this is the measurement of dielectric constant. Thank you for watching this video lecture. Like, subscribe, and please press a bell icon. Thank you all.